So you were talking about the
guru, my asked guru, who is a Nirgrantha,
who
is a Nagra.
Can you tell again your name of your guru?
Samanta Bhadra.
Right.
Original name is Devchand Kasturchand Shaha.
And where did you study with him? In the ashram?
Well, in Karanja Ashram. Karanja is in Vidarbha from Nagpur, about 200 miles away from Nagpur.
And how many years were you with him?
Well, from fifth grade school, after primary school, that is higher primary, 5th grade to high school complete. I matriculated from Karanja. From matriculation, then I came to Nasik.
Right.
And I have written the whole story how I came to Nasik. And Nasik I did the BA degree.
Right.
Ahmedabad I came with Pandit Shuklaji, I did my MA degree.
Right.
Then London I came and did my PhD there.
Right.
So all these are outside ashram.
Right.
But in ashram I did not have a penny in my hand.
Right.
My father gave me 5 rupees. In my entire career of a student, the person who brought me to Karanja Ashram gave 5 rupees in my name to the ashram. That this is a Padmanabh's money. That was the last penny, and they never asked me anything. Whatever in the ashram there was a system that those whose parents supply clothes, fine, but those students who don't have, they can every year a pair of pants and pair of shirts changed, something like that. And sleeping chadar, etc. They were given to all students.
Right.
So I did not have. So there was a small shop run by students itself, where you write the name and item you write and money, etc., etc. So if you paid, fine, it is written there. If it's not paid, you just cross. That's it. So my father did not give me anything. He did not have any money either. He did not give me anything. He did not borrow from somebody and give it. So when Bhujabali Shastri, his name, he was the one. Bhujabali Shastri was a Shastri from Mudbidri who had come to Kashi in the 20s, who was my father's friend, same age. He has done a wonderful book. He has prepared a catalogue of Jaina manuscripts in Mudbidri, Bhandara.
Wow.
There's a whole, I will give you an article tomorrow.
Okay.
He made a suchi of all of that.
Index.
And Bharati Jnanapith has published that volume also.
Oh, good.
So he came to Kashi, he studied there and got the title Shastri, Nyaya Shastri, Nyaya Acharya or something like that. Then he was able to read Sanskrit, but Kannada, as this is a Kannada book, Sanskrit, but Kannada Lipi. So Mudbidri has very ancient manuscripts of Dhavala, Jai Dhavala, etc., brought from Veerasena. It's Andhra Pradesh, actually, it was brought from Andhra Pradesh. Bankapura. Maybe somewhere, maybe Dharwad nearby, who knows. Bankapura is a word mentioned. From Bankapura it came to Mudbidri. From where it came to Bankapura, that has not been mentioned. But it was all probably, there was a place which was burned down by the king. I have written in my article, the name will come. Mudbidri has palm leaf manuscripts going back to 7th century, 6th century, some even 4th century AD, that is.
That's much, much older than any manuscript.
That's correct. It has been said, the government of India has said that they have the oldest possible manuscripts.
I mean, 4th and 6th century?
No, 6th, 7th century manuscripts means palm leaf.
Even 6th and 7th is much older than
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That the government of India then took them away and polished them and preserved them.
Okay, did they do it?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes, the preservation work destroys these manuscripts.
No, but somehow they agreed that we will, with the Jaina, Jaina, etc., modern scholars.
Okay.
So they took it to care, and only 3 manuscripts were taken, not all.
Okay.
But the most old, there are 3 like Mahabharata, Jaya Bharata, Mahabharata, Bharata, Jaya Bharata, Mahabharata,
right.
Dhavala, Jaya Dhavala, Mahadhavala.
Right.
So these are the 3 great books on karma theory.
Right.
And so those are the old manuscripts are preserved there.
Wow.
They are called Siddhanta, and that temple is called Siddhanta temple.
Wow.
And they are all written in Kannada Lipi.
Wow.
But language is Sanskrit or Prakrit.
Wow.
They don't use Devanagari.
Right.
He could read it, Bhujabali Shastri. He could read Sanskrit
Right.
because he was in Banaras, he got this degree. Then he could read Kannada. Now, there was in Patna, near Patna, a place called Ara, A-R-R-A-H, Ara. Ara is a district place near Patna in Bihar. There was a Agrawal again, Devakumar, Jaina Agrawal, who had established a library of Jaina manuscripts. He had collected all over India. He visited temples and others, and wherever he could bribe or get something, he collected manuscripts. And he had many Hindi paper manuscripts and some very old palm leaf manuscripts from here and there, from temples and others. He collected. By giving money, he will take away.
Yeah.
And so, but there was nobody in North India who could read any Kannada lipi. They could not even read Hindi properly.
Yeah.
But he had many manuscripts which Hindi pandits could not read.
Right.
They said, this is not Sanskrit, this is Kannada or whatever language.
Yeah.
So they were in search of a person who could read the Kannada. And somehow this Bhujabali Shastri came to know that they have got a collection of the Kannada manuscripts. So he went to Ara. Young man. He was my father's age. And there he said, I can read this. I can read Kannada. You can read Kannada this? Yes, I can read it all. He was given a job there. That you will be in charge of this library where you will prepare a suchi, that's the catalog, etc. As well as there was a girls' school by that man opened, and his daughter, who became a widow, Chanda Bai, her name, Agrawal, they established a Kanya Pathshala. So Kanya Pathshala, he would teach Dharma there, and he would be in charge of the library, manuscripts, etc. So Bhujabali Shastri spent his lifetime working in Ara, in that library, and there he was, because he could read Kannada as well as Sanskrit, Devanagari, but mostly Sanskrit written in Kannada lipi, and that also old Kannada lipi, not new.
Right.
So he was able to decipher them, he was able to correct them.
Amazing.
And so he wrote a whole history of the Kannada literature, Jaina Kannada literature. I will give you that article, it is still sitting there. Tomorrow I will give you that article. I made a copy of that article for you to keep and circulate if necessary, if you find. This is the way Bhujabali Shastri used to come home on the vacations sometimes.
To Nellikar?
To Mudbidri.
Oh, okay.
And my father and they were very close friends.
Yeah.
So whenever he would come to Mudbidri, etc., he was not living in Mudbidri, he was living about 10 miles away from Mudbidri, which was very close to Nellikar, walking distance. Say from here to your Oakland kind of thing. So my father asked him, where should I send Padmanabh, because after the fourth form, elementary, there is no school here. So he suggested that nowadays there is a Samantavada, Kshullak has opened. Kshullak means Vastradhari, like Bhattaraka. And that Kshullak really means junior. Kshudra, small, junior. He has opened a school where they teach both English and Sanskrit and Dharma. That's Mahavira Brahmacharya Ashram, Karanja. So father said, please take him with you. And that is how Bhujabali, at the age of 9, I was taken out of my Nellikar place. And then came to Mudbidri. There he had to spend about 4-6 months, about which I have written my experience in Mudbidri, how I saw it. So you should read it again. And then he brought me via Madras, first from Mangalore to Madras by train, from Madras to Nagpur by train, from Nagpur another line going to Karanja, and then he brought me to Samantavadra Maharaj at that time, Kshullaka. And that is how I have described it all in my book.
I know.
So, and that is how I came to Karanja at the age of 9.
Yeah. So I just am curious, you did not talk about this in the book. Can you tell, what was the daily schedule like? What time did you wake up? What did you learn? How many students were there? How much time did you get with your guru?
Well, I have written about something about that. I think I have written, in the ashram you mean?
Yeah, in the ashram.
In the ashram, 5 o'clock bell. Everyone got up. And immediately, by 6 o'clock, by 6:30, there was a well from which you had to shower.
Yeah, take bath.
5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, your shaucha, etc., etc. By 7 o'clock, you're all assembled in temple. That big building had 3 stories. Lowest one is school, middle one is sabha, and on the sides, open area where people, students should live. Not open area, but it was not rooms, hall. It is as open as like this.
Yeah.
And so students simply had beds, etc. And then on the top floor there was a temple with the images of the Jina, etc. So they all gathered, and the first arati was done, Mangal Arati. And after the Mangal Arati, students went down to have their meal, etc. Because the bathroom, you just pour water from the well, and and a towel, and that's in a run after shaucha, etc. So by 9 o'clock, you will have your first meal.
Yeah.
10 o'clock, the school begins.
Okay.
So
School means what?
school means what? The 5th form, 6th form, 7th form, 8th form, like that, with mathematics and English.
So all the regular subjects?
Absolutely. Only the dharma education was an additional one,
Yeah.
which was not during the daytime.
So how was
And
that?
this was a school, only resident students' school. That was Gurukula. We all students lived together.
Yeah.
No parents,
Yeah.
no visitors as such.
No.
All ate from the same kitchen
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
So we all sat at 10 o'clock at the bench in the kitchen.
How many students were with you?
I think in those days there were about 70 students.
70?
770.
That's huge. I thought maybe there
Yeah.
were 20 or something.
No, 70.
Oh my gosh.
Because it originally 2025,
Yeah.
then it becomes 70.
Wow.
I will show you tomorrow a book. They have published a book of that. You will see the buildings also.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Oh yeah, and tomorrow there is time for that. So,
So-
I'll bring the book up. Actually, the book is downstairs in the study.
Yeah.
But I will bring it up tomorrow so that you can see the pictures,
Yeah.
the building I'm talking about,
yeah.
etc. And so
So Dharma teaches...
Dharma was taught at the night.
Okay.
Dharma means what? Small books,
Yeah.
Ratnakarand, Shravakachara,
Mm.
for the grown up, for the students who are in the high school,
Yeah.
because it began at 5th form, 6th form, 7th form,
Yeah.
then 8th form and the 9th form, and then 10th form in those days, like that.
Yeah.
High school.
Yeah.
Then after that it was finished.
Yeah.
Only for those who were in the last 3 years of the high school,
Right.
they were given Dharma Shikshana in a regular curriculum.
Okay.
For the other ones, there was a special half an hour or 1 hour where simply teaching what is jiva,
Right.
what is ajiva, what is this and that. I will show you a small
So
book I have got in the.
Guruji was teaching all these classes, or
Yeah, but actually, Guruji, there are only school teachers are different. They are not guru. They
I
are
know,
not
I know.
ashram people. They are
Yeah.
outsiders.
Yeah.
They live out. They
Yeah.
live outside and they come and
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
But ashram, they are devoted people who have devoted their life, like brahmacharya, and then these are called gurujis, and they were also dedicated to Samantabhadraji's ideal. They were bachelors, celibate.
Right.
That not all, but certainly most of them. And then they would teach free. They would attend to classes. They will take care of everything. So somebody will be responsible for the food, supply for food, cooking of the food and serving of the food. All this takes a big organization,
Huge.
something like that. And similarly, somebody has to take the cleaner. So tomorrow I will bring up the book upstairs. With the books I can talk about that. But basically, Dharma Shikshana was for the grown-up people,
Which you did eventually too.
which I had to do. That was done in the evening after the meal in the evening. At 7 o'clock, Arati. There was an Arati for half an hour. And then a little Samayika, sitting down Samayika.
Like
Samadhi,
all together?
and then all together in one line. And then you are free to do your study.
Yeah.
And then during that Samayika thing, for half an hour we were, before, but grown-ups, we were taught these things. Let me go and get that book for you, small, Jiva.
Okay.
Because that will give you some idea, and I also get a little relief from simply sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Go
will
ahead.
show you something.
Go ahead. Good morning, Professor Jaini. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I wanted to ask, could you tell us when you were born, where you were born, and a little bit about your mother and father, who were both learned people?
Okay. I was born according to my horoscope which was drawn immediately after within 3 days after our birth. A Jyotishi was called in. Normally, the temple priest is a Jyotishi also. And he drew a kundali for me, Janma, time, etc. I was told that I was born early morning before the dawn on Monday, 23rd, Monday 22nd, Monday 23rd October.
Yeah.
In those days, they thought that the day begins at sunbreak and not at midnight. Therefore, in the writing, 22nd was written as my birth date. And so later on, my father corrected it, said that it was 23rd after midnight, you will change. And so this happened much later on. And a new horoscope was therefore made then. Because 22 and 23 makes a difference.
Yeah, big difference.
But the time was the same, that before Suryodaya, a little before Suryodaya, Monday morning, Monday is definitely Somvara, and then horoscope was made, because horoscope is a part of our cultural thing, that the Brahmin is, that's the Purohit is called, he does that, and that is kept there as a secret. It must not be shown to anyone at all, because that contains your life story in it. So this is what my grandmother told me much, much later when I became questioning us these things.
This is mother's mother.
Mother's mother. Normally in India, in our community, in South at least, in the Jain community, the first child is born not at husband's house.
Yeah.
On the 7th month of the pregnancy, a mother, she comes to mother's place.
Same for
and
us.
It is in mother's place. So my mother, who was in Nellikar, which was about say 16 miles away, walking distance on a back road
from
Nellikar to Beltangadi.
No, but 16 miles from where?
Say from Karkala on one side.
Okay.
There are two ways. One, you go to coastal area to Mangalore via Mudbidri, Venur, Mangalore, up this way, Udupi, etc. Another is behind the seaside, Mudbidri, etc. Behind Mudbidri, there is a cart road. Later on became a bus road. And that from Karkala to Dharmasthala. Dharmasthala is a very famous place.
Yeah, of course.
That is 60 miles exactly from Karkala to Dharmasthala. There are 3 rivers to cross. And so the carts were taken, but then they had to cross the rivers and then come up, etc. like that. So my mother married in Nellikar to my father, Sri Varma Shetty. My mother's mother was from Putturu near Mangalore, and so she was married to Nellikar Sri Varma, and the 7th month of her pregnancy, after a certain special ritual puja, she is brought home by her brother to her mother's place, where he is also living. So I was born in my grandmother's house.
Of course.
On the one. And as I said in my book, both my mother and me, we were considered close to death almost, so sick. She lost so much blood in giving birth to me. So that is the time when my grandmother, who was a great believer in the goddess Padmavati, who has a big shrine in a place called Hombuja, which is about, say, later on I have gone by car, 3 hours journey by car, and 3 or 4 hours journey by car. And so she took me, saying that I will name him only there if he recovers.
Right. Could you explain, Professor, Padmavati is not Lakshmi here?
No. There's Lakshmi. There is no Lakshmi goddess among the Jainas.
Right.
There is a Saraswati.
Right.
As a matter of fact, the first Saraswati image found in Mathura is a Jaina image. And she holds a pustaka in her hand.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
wow.
Saraswati, first Saraswati. No Lakshmi. Jains don't have Lakshmi.
Right.
Because Lakshmi would be, if there is Lakshmi, Vishnu will follow.
Right.
Therefore, Lakshmi is not, instead of Lakshmi, Padmavati, which is now which is connected with the Parshvanatha's guardian deity.
That's the point.
Because as I said earlier, I believe that Parshvanatha in Banaras saw his uncle surrounded by log and fire, Panchagni sadhana.
Mm.
He looking up to the sun
Yeah.
and sun on his back
Yeah.
and the fire burning, etc.
Yeah.
And there he saw a log burning,
Yeah.
and Parshvanath, a young chap, whose uncle was doing there, he was he becomes a Jain, or he was Jain. He kicked that wooden thing, saying, "There are snakes in it, burning."
Yeah.
And those were the two snakes, which because of he saved them,
Yeah.
he gave them Pancha Namaskara mantra.
Yeah.
Arahanta Siddha Acharya Upadhyaya Sadhu.
Uh-huh.
In short, Ahasi Ausa.
Mm.
And so, those died because they were given that mantra at the end of their life. Those two snakes became Dharanendra and Padmavati, name given to them. They became the Naga Kumaras, which are Vyantara Devas.
Right.
It's a name given, they are not snakes there.
Vyantara Deva here means?
Vyantara, let us say them. There are three kinds of gods in Jainism.
Right.
One is Bhavanavasi. One is Kalpavasi, means for those who are up on the sky,
Right.
beyond
Heavenly. Yeah.
heavenly being.
Celestial.
Then there are others who remain on earth, etc., and in the various corners. And there are some called Vyantara. Vyantara means Vyantaras are like half animal, half human face,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And these are having snake face, sword face, and like that. And they live in the forest, on the trees,
Right.
or on the borders of the earth, and
Right.
and in between hell and earth
Right.
there is a space.
Yeah.
And during this, they therefore are called Vyantaras. They are also gods in the sense that they are not born to parents.
Right.
They are self-born,
Yeah.
automatically,
Swayambhu.
like mushroom comes up like that.
Yeah.
So they come up
Yeah.
like bamboo shoots up,
Yeah.
like they come up.
Yeah.
And so Vyantaras are considered to be extremely bad, extremely hostile, and yet by mantra, Jainas made several Vyantaras non-violent.
Yeah.
And because Padmavati and Dharanendra are Vyantara, they are born as Naga. They were snakes.
Yeah.
So they given the Naga Kumar is a part of the Vyantara life.
Yeah.
So Vyantaras are not human beings,
Right.
not animals,
Right.
because they are not born of parents.
Right.
They are automatically born like the heavenly gods.
Right.
So hell also no parents.
Right.
So these are all called hell, heaven, and these Vyantaras are born without parents. Okay? And so the Vyantara, Vyantara, there is
Vyantara.
Vyantara, so they are between heaven and earth.
Yeah.
There is a place
In between. Yeah.
in between. And these are and then who are these? The Jainas, Bhuta, Preta, Yaksha, Rakshasa, Gandharva. These Kinnara, Kim Purusha.
Yeah.
See the word Kinnara.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like a man.
Right.
Kim Purusha.
What man?
What man? Kim Purusha. He doesn't look like a man.
Yeah.
Kim Nara is a human.
Yeah.
And that Kinnara,
Yeah.
Kim Purusha, Gandharva. Gandharvas are also musician, Gandharva.
Right.
So they are all in the Vyantara.
Yeah.
And they are not human beings.
What about the ganadharas?
No, Ganadhara is a Jaina special term for one who is the spokesperson for the Tirthankara.
Oh, okay.
Tirthankaras have, you see, Tirthankaras, according to Shvetambaras, whatever he says turns into words. But Digambaras say that there is only Divya Dhvani.
Divya Dhvani. Wow.
Divya Dhvani. Whereas the Shvetambaras say he does speak. I was here, something like that. But it is not articulate enough to hear like words. See, that's why there is if you open up the dictionary, the Jaina dictionary, Jainendra Siddhanta Kosha, published by Bharatiya Jnanpith, Jainendra Siddhanta Kosha. Okay. The Divya Dhvani is called when the Tirthankara attains Kevala Jnana and he has to preach, he has only sound only, Divya Dhvani.
Wow.
Now, something like that. Because once you attain Kevala Jnana, everything you do is automatic.
Right.
It is not inspired by any desire.
Right.
Let me speak.
Yeah.
See, when I say now this, there is something that is happening which makes me say, let me say this.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
But in the case of the Kevalin one who has become
There's
free,
no will.
no will is exercised automatically. So Divya Dhvani is said to be automatically some sound comes.
Right.
That sound is magical sound
Yeah.
because only those who are able to understand that those must be Jaina sadhus
Okay.
who have completely Mahavratas, Nagna sadhu, etc. Digambara.
Yeah, yeah.
According to Shvetambara, not Nagna but was Ekavastra.
Okay.
Okay. So they are the ones who magically immediately understand the meaning of this dhvani. They are called ganadhara because gana means they are not single. They are together 3-4 ganas. Gana means a group. So they are ganadharas. Probably this ganadhara word was probably taken by Jainas from the Vedic ones. Gananam tum ganapati.
Back to that thing again?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that gana stood for a group of beings.
Yeah.
So when you chant Veda,
Group,
you don't say Vedic chants are not done by a single person.
Right, of course not.
3-4 people have Dr. Rigvedi, etc.
Yeah.
So Gana became a word for group singing, group acting. So Ganadharas are, each Tirthankara has 1, 2, 3, 4 Ganadharas. That means Jaina sadhus who have become sadhus, they immediately, magically, because of their punya, whatever prayer, as they enter the presence of this person, Tirthankara, they suddenly develop a special knowledge called Manapariya. They can read the minds and they can interpret the Divya Dhvani by their own skill.
Yeah.
And they are not, and so the first Ganadhara is called Gautama.
Gautama.
Gautama Buddha, Gautama
Yeah, I
Ganadhara,
know, that's
Gautama.
pretty clever.
And very clear, Gautama Ganadhara and Gautama Ganadhara, and this Ganadhara, Gautama's brother also, they are all Brahmins. Gautama is a Brahmin. He is a very, what you call, they say, he was extremely proud of his knowledge, this Gautama. And he could not be defeated by anybody, Vada also. This Gautama, therefore, when he comes, Indra, heavenly person, he thinks that this is going to be Ganadhara, but I have to waken him up. So he says, he brings to, I think it's a later story imposed on that. He brings to a place where some Jaina sadhu is saying, Traikalyam dravyashatkam navapada saitam jiva shatkayaleshaha. Yeah, so Indra is a Brahmin. He asked Gautama, who is a great scholar, Gautama, what is the meaning of this? What? Traikalyam dravyashatkam. What dravyashatkam? It's not in the Vedas.
Yeah.
It's not in the Brahmana. So dravyashatkam. So, and you call yourself such a big shot? You don't know what dravyashatkam is? Let me take you. So when he comes, Traikalyam is okay, 3 kalas.
Yeah, 3
Dravyashatkam, 6 dravyas.
Yeah.
Jiva, Pudgala, Dharma, Adharma, Kala. These are the 5. Jiva, Pudgala, Dharma, Adharma, Kala and Akasha.
Akasha.
So these are the 6 dravyas according to the Jainas.
Yeah.
These are eternal 6 things.
Yeah.
Jivas, infinite.
Right.
Pudgala means the matter, infinitely infinite.
Yeah.
Infinite multiplied by infinite is infinitely infinite.
Yeah.
That means really beyond it.
Yeah.
Dharma means simply the principle of motion. And it is like space everywhere. Because of that principle of motion, you move. Like fish moves in water.
Yeah.
Because only there it can fish move. Why? There is that dharma.
Yeah.
We move around because
Right.
there is dharma.
Right.
We can sit and not move. That's
Right.
adharma. So dharma and adharma pervade the entire space.
Right.
So first thing is akasha.
So like action and stillness.
Akasha is the end of the loka akasha. See, loka is Jaina loka is shown like a man standing akimbo.
Yeah.
That's the sign of the loka.
Yeah.
The top part is heaven.
Yeah.
Lower part is hell, etc.
Yeah.
The middle part is the middle circle only.
Yeah.
Just a small one,
Yeah.
like the kamar patti.
Yeah.
That's Prithvi.
Yeah.
That's it. And that in the middle of that Prithvi, right, there is Jambu Dvipa.
Yeah.
And that is where human beings are found.
Yeah.
So the rest is all Nigodas.
Yeah.
Nigodas are found everywhere, absolutely everywhere, except the last top of this loka where the Siddhas are assembled. Siddha, when the person escapes samsara, his soul shoots up
Yeah.
right there and goes to the end of the loka because beyond there is no dharma, adharma, there is no. So this loka where movement is possible, where sitting and standing is possible, where human beings or animals are there, this space is called loka akasha. world exists within this space. You follow?
Yeah.
This space has the shape of man standing with akimbo with hands put like this. Man standing, legs apart, with hands like this.
Yeah.
This whole idea, from top to bottom, if you draw a line, a long log-like line, that is the place where top is heaven, mid portion is human, very small area, as small as the bimbi, so Manushya Loka is the smallest one.
Tiny,
And below are various 7 cells, etc. Then the entire Nigoda only. But Nigodas are everywhere also. But so there is no place where Nigodas are not there.
Right.
So this Loka, beyond this Loka, called Loka Akasha, there is infinite space. It's called Aloka Akasha. There is, in the Aloka, there are no divisions like heaven, hell.
Right.
There are no sun, moon. There is nothing at all, just the space.
Yeah, it's like matter and antimatter.
No matter, antimatter, nothing at all. Because Jiva Pudgala Dharma Adharma Akasha, Kala, only within the Loka Akasha.
Right.
Outside the Loka Akasha, there is no limit at all. Beyond, you cannot measure. There is nothing but space.
Right.
This space is called Aloka Akasha.
So, okay, we could talk forever and get off on so many different tangents.
So,
one thing I'll just share.
I will coming to the parents now. You want?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I always take the students to Patan. And I showed them all the beautiful images of the Jain cosmology.
That's right.
Are in Hemachandra's Granthaya.
Oh yeah, I know, Patan. I have been there.
Oh, amazing. And even Hemachandra's, with the main book.
Yoga Shastra.
Yoga Shastra is there.
Oh
It's
yeah. They have made a big artistic things, many of that.
Yeah.
A man standing, woman standing. So this is all but this is only an infinite part of the Akasha.
I know.
Because beyond the Loka Akasha is Aloka
Another-
Akasha, it has no limit at all.
Yeah.
Whereas the Buddhists, I have an article on this called Cosmology, Buddhist and Jain. In a volume which I have downstairs, I will show you.
Okay. It's not in the collected works?
Edited by Phyllis Granoff, Cosmology.
Is it in the collected works?
Huh?
Is it in the collected works?
No, it's not. It's a separate volume.
No, your collected works.
No, it's not in that. It
Okay.
was published much later on.
I see.
It's called Cosmology.
Okay,
but the volume is downstairs. I will show you.
Okay.
If you want to take a picture of that, you
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
Or you can
Phyllis
find it in the
Granoff's
library.
volume.
You can find it in the
I'll
Brown.
find
You
it.
will have that.
Yeah.
But it's called simply Cosmology. And I have written on the Jaina and the Buddhist cosmology. What the Buddhists have said, that this one Loka, this one world of the heaven, middle and hell, which the Jainas talk, this is the end of it all. No, for the Buddhists, there are endless series of these lokas.
Yeah.
This is one loka, there is another loka, the third loka, and each loka has a Buddha. So these lokas are multiple, goes on and on.
Yeah.
Endlessly loka, according to the Buddhists.
Right.
You should read that article,
Yeah.
Cosmology, Buddhist and Jain.
We'll do it.
I have. And it is in a book called Cosmology, edited by Phyllis Granoff.
Yeah, got it.
And it was published from Rubin Museum published it.
Oh, in New York, yeah.
New York Rubin Museum has
Yeah.
published this. It's called Cosmology.
Wonderful.
And that volume is downstairs.
Okay.
I will show you.
Okay.
So anyway,
So getting back
to the
Padmavati, and your grandmother
Padmavati,
had an
therefore,
affection for
Padmavati is the female snake which was saved by Parshvanatha. And Dharnendra is the male snake which they all become Vyantara. Because they died in that position. They become Vyantara. But there they are given Naga Kumar because they came from Naga Yoni.
Yeah.
Otherwise they are not snakes there. But they can appear as snakes when they come out of the country, out of their own, taking their original shape. Almost all Vyantaras who have become, they have animal shapes possible to turn into.
Yeah, shape-shifting.
The previous life. So Padmavati and Dharnendra are shown. So Parshvanatha, when he later on, that very Parshvanatha who saved them, he sets in meditation, that uncle of his who died and he wants to take revenge of this fellow who has who had challenged him.
Yeah.
He, when Parshvanatha becomes a Jaina monk and stands like Bhujabali, then he showers like Buddha
Yeah.
was my Mara.
Yeah, totally.
So Mara throws, and so then that uncle has become Vyantara called Kamatha. Vyantaras can be flying in the skies also, but they can destroy, they can lift the mountains and drop it like that. So he has started giving Parshvanatha such showers of that. That then Dharanendra and Padmavati say, we have to save this now. So Dharanendra runs and raises his hood on top of Parshvanatha when he is meditating. You see that?
Yeah.
That's the image of Parshva standing with the image showing up like that.
Yeah.
So that image is there. So Parshvanatha image inside the image with the Parshva. All Parshvanatha images have therefore a snake showing, that is Dharanendra.
Right.
Padmavati, however, holds only an umbrella standing. And this is found in Ajanta cave.
Right.
There is a huge image of Parshvanatha.
Amazing.
And the shower of the stones, etc. And Dharanendra's snake and Padmavati holding a big umbrella. This is in Ellora cave. Image, stone, and this is all published by, you see, there is an article on Parshvanatha by Dhaki. M.S. Dhaki, who was an art historian.
Okay.
M.A. Dhaki,
Okay.
Shwetambar fellow. So he has a whole book called Parshvanatha. So there is a Parshvanatha has become a big cult, so to say.
Yeah.
So what I'm now saying is that it is believed now that is Padmavati and Dharanendra who saved Parshvanatha.
Right.
They have become Jain. They are the worshippers of Parshvanath.
Right.
Therefore, we can call on them to help us also.
Yes.
Mostly women go, and now that snake goddess is called Padmavati.
Right.
And male goddess is called Dharanendra.
Yeah.
Because Dharana is Prithvi.
Yeah.
Prithvi, one who holds the Prithvi.
Yeah.
So it's a Hindu Brahmanical word Dharana.
Yeah.
So Dharanendra, he's the Indra of the Prithvi holder. Because the snake is holding up, etc.
Yeah.
So these are the Padmavati is of course Jaina's Jaina word. They don't use the word Lakshmi. Padma of course is the symbol for purity. So one who has Padmavati is used very much with Saraswati. Lotuses.
She also says
So, yes, Lakshmi also has. Everyone has lotus. Kamala is a Indian thing. West has only rose.
Right.
Indian didn't have rose.
Right.
The Arabs introduced rose in India, according to some what I have heard. Rose was not originally. Gulab is not Indian word.
Right.
The gulab is what self Arabic word, I think. Gul up. Up. Gul. Gulshan.
In Turkey, Gulhana is the word.
Gulhana, Gulshan. That's what.
Gulshan.
So
Gulbadan.
We have Kamala.
Yeah.
This is the purity of Kamala because nothing stands on the leaf of the lotus.
Yeah.
So lotus, Kamala, Nayana. All these are, Kamala became the symbol of rising from the mud and rising up and purity, and transcendence. And so this is how.
I mean, it's a symbol
Padmavati, Padma therefore means Kamala.
Yeah.
Padmavati means one who has a garden of lotuses.
Wow.
This is the idea. And so this is the Jaina coined the word Padmavati. Until then there is no Padmavati word. Padmavati doesn't appear in the Hindu mythology.
Until later.
But then that's why the Jainas don't have Vishnu, Lakshmi, because Lakshmi means Vishnu will come then.
Yeah.
So Lakshmi they avoid. Although businessmen they are, on the Diwali day, first day, that's called Vahi Pujan. So they have to worship all the account books. Lakshmi Pujan it's called. And there's a Lakshmi is there. That's the Brahmanical Lakshmi. That's no, because Jaina has no corresponding Lakshmi.
Right.
Padmavati does not replace Lakshmi in that sense of wealth, etc.
Right.
Padmavati is invoked by women. Oh goddess, please help me. I'm in trouble. I don't have get a child. I want child. When I'm getting a child, I have pregnancy problems and give my birth. And all women have problems every time between death and life. So women have to call on, they don't call on Dharanendra, the Padmavati. And this Padmavati became a big cult in a place called Hombuja. Hombuja is, as I said, is about 3-4 hours by. It's a big shrine there. That is where it is believed that this Padmavati goddess came from, and there is a story also for that which is worth saying. There is a Kannada book called Jinadatta Raya Charite. Jinadatta Raya Charite.
Kannada?
Kannada. Jinadatta Raya Charite. It's a poetical Sangatya meter.
From what century?
Kannada.
What century?
I would say that the book as it is around 14th, 15th century.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah.
But it is based on an earlier account. The book that is now available, Jinadatta Raya Charite, is 14th, 15th century. The name is given some Samanta, some king, in that area, Tulu area. And he says it's a Tulu area. And in Tulu, Mudbidri, he uses the word Mudbidri.
Really?
Yeah, Mudbidri has a history beginning from 722 AD. Inscriptional.
Yeah.
Under the image of the Parshvanath, there is inscription 722, corresponding somewhat for that. So Mudbidri's history goes to 8th century with all that. So
Mudbidri is
Mudbidri is very ancient. Yeah. See, there is a book called Mudbidri in the Kabul.
I saw it.
And there are 18 temples here, and they have
yeah.
got all the pictures of the 18 temples. You can take pictures also of that book. So, this Padmavati goddess, there is a story of Jinadatta Raya Charite. In short, I tell you because people don't know this.
Okay, tell.
And this again conflict with Ahimsa and Himsa. In the north, Mathura, because originally it begins from Mathura, which will become Dakshina Mathura is called Madura.
Madurai.
So Madurai, he establishes Madurai, one who comes now. Mathura has a king, a Jaina king. He has a queen whose son is Jinadatta. That king turns Mithya Drishtin. He marries, almost like the story of Shantanu, going like a hunter woman like that. And she brings home a Bhilla woman, or something like that, very beautiful one. She is Padmini. Padmini, you probably will be amused to know what is a Padmini woman. How do you know she's a Padmini? There are Padmini, Shankini. Padmini is one whose mutra is so enchanting to the bees that the bees come and start as soon as she leaves it on her mutra. So she's a Padmini, high class woman, caste woman. She has her whole private part smell of Padma. That kind of poetry. Kavya metat. Always remember the words Buddhist Acharya says.
Yeah, what is it?
Naitat sutram. Naitat sutram na shastram. Kavya metat. This is poetry.
This is poetry, man.
This is not authentic. Don't take it as sutra or shastra.
Right.
Naitat sutram, na shastram, kavya metat. Enjoy it and abandon it. That's Sanskrit words. Kavya metat. So kavya is something imaginary. Therefore, all these are stories.
Right.
So this Naitat sutram. If sutram it is Bhagwan's word. Shastra will be Acharya word. This is neither Naitat sutram, na shastram. Kavya metat. So when you say kavya metat, you enjoy the kavya, poetry. So this is how. Now, this particular king brings that Bhilla woman, Padmini woman, and she has a son called Maridatta. She is not Jaina.
Right.
The first queen is Jaina. Shitala Devi has some such name. Shriyala. She has a son called Jinadatta. The king is Jaina.
Right.
His first wife and her son is Jinadatta. And the second wife is a Bhilla woman, Padmini, and he has a son called Maridatta. And he has now totally turned into her hand. And he really thinks now that Jinadatta being elder, he is going to succeed me. And he wants to give Maridatta the succession. So how to arrange for that? So he wants to kill Jinadatta. So he arranges by through the cook that you give this nimbu to he arranges that whosoever brings nimbu should be slaughtered. So Maridatta is given and Jinadatta is given. Jinadatta is given a limbu by somebody, according to prearranged king.
Right.
So, with the help of his queen.
Right.
So, he goes and then this son, Maridatta, he says, brother, what are you having in your hand? Oh, that's a lemon one, and I have to give it to cook, etc. Oh, let me have it, let me take. So he takes and then the cook, not knowing that this is because he knows that anyone who brings Maridatta is killed, or something like that. And immediately Jinadatta is told by his guardian deity, Jinadatta, you are in great danger now, he is going to kill you, escape. So, and that is told by Padmavati, a goddess image, a small image made of a dhatu, which according to the poetical convention, if you rub it against loha, iron, it turns into gold.
Suvarna.
Suvarna. There's a special word for that.
Yeah. Gold. It's like the Midas touch.
Because when you bring gold, what the goldman does, the gold people, they strike that light on that stone. And touchstone.
Yeah.
So a small image of Padmavati, which was worshipped by the queen, Jaina queen, who has been now imprisoned or whatever. Something, not imprisoned, but Sarasara. So she gets in the dream. Padmavati goddess appears and says, you take your son and run away, because he is going to kill you as well as your son. And so Jinadatta Raya mounts on a horse, and his mother, and taking that small image of Padmavati, which was in the shrine of his mother, together that image, they come. And that image is made of a metal with which if you touch the iron, it becomes gold. And so throughout from Mathura, he gallops on the horse, and gold he gets whenever he wants to touch it. It gets gold. Correct. This way, and many people join him. Many, as the territories he goes through, Gurjara, this and that and all that, and hundreds and thousands of them, they come. And then there is a time when they reach the place today is called Hombuja. Actually, the original word is Hombuja. It's a place, Suvarna place. Honnu means gold.
Okay. Is that Honnu Sonnu?
That's from that date. Ponnu, Ponnucha, Porbucha. Today it is a Hombuja.
Okay.
That Hombuja is a place where suddenly, under a tree, that horse stopped. And goddess Padmavati told him, this is the place, you can't go any further, I'm going to stand here now. Wow. And so he puts that image under a tree. And today, Loki Mara, it is called, it's still under the tree. That image is still there. And then, and there is a well. Well, behind the well is a tree. And on the well, on the wall of the well, that image was put. And even today, it still sits there in the Lucky Mara of that Maras, and they have not changed. That is the place called Padmavati Shrine. You should visit someday. It's a very sacred place. And people have had many magic experiences. Now let me see who is this mother. My grandmother accordingly took me when I was 3 years old to Hombuja, and that is where I was named Padmanabh. My uncle was now known as Padmaraj, my mother's brother. And so Padma has something to do with Padmavati. So Padmanabh was the name chosen. Padmanabh is the name of Krishna also, which is Jaina. In the Jaina Purana, Krishna is a Jaina. Balaram is a Jaina. Every Neminatha's cousin brothers. So I was named, and I was brought to this Beltangadi and Beltangadi temple. There is one temple built by my great-grandfather, Jain temple. Inside there are
Your
3 Jain temples.
Your grandfather built that temple?
Yeah, there are 3 Jaina temples within a compound, big compound.
Okay.
3 Jaina temples, 1, 2, 3. The small one was dedicated to by my great grandfather.
Wow, I didn't
And
know that.
oh yeah, Jaina temple is still there. He has given his land, income of the land to the upkeep of that temple. It's a small shrine, wonderful, beautiful,
Yeah.
a good image, sitting image, etc.
yeah.
So that became there for the place for my grandmother to worship. She will take me there when I was, and so in this way I started my, and I think when I was about 2 years old, when I had recovered enough to take a car travel back to Nellikar. Nellikar, as I said, Nellikar has a back road going from Karkala to Dharmasthala.
Right.
Then coastline will be about 50 miles away from Karkala. Those 50 or 60 miles are filled with Mudbidri, etc. up to Mangalore and Udupi.
Mm-hmm.
So coastline has a Mangalore to Goa to Mangalore, Mangalore to Kerala, etc. going on. Udupi, etc. They are all on the coastline.
Right.
Whereas inside, leave 60 miles, there is an inside road through the ghats going from Karkala to Dharmasthala.
Mm-hmm.
And from Dharmasthala, Karkala to Dharmasthala, near Dharmasthala, there is Agumbe ghats, which you climb up in order to come up to Mysore, Bangalore, etc. like that. So this is the way. So my grandmother took me to Hombuja. There she named me Padmanabh and asked for blessings. And I am told that that particular goddess of Padmavati's temple which is still there.
Yeah.
She can make miracles.
Right.
Same one.
Yeah.
You put a garland and all the flowers will simply come down like that. I have seen myself, not entirely thing, but one flower can flower from her right hand side. That is considered okay.
Auspicious, yeah.
Okay, that's the Hombuja.